13-year anniversary of Rugrats in Paris getting released. And I thought we should have done a review of that movie instead, because this is a fun topic, but Rugrats in Paris, probably the best animated film of the past 20 years. I think we could both agree on that. Don't even need to discuss it, really. But Toy Story 3, nothing. It's just if Rugrats in Paris is a gold mine, Toy Story 3 is a pittance compared to that. Just not even comparison. But I think Rugrats in Paris would have been a good choice. I think that would have been a good movie review this week.
Have you actually seen that?
Well, when I was a kid.
Oh, I have. No, I'm saying I have too. I was curious if you had seen it.
Oh yeah. Oh, I've seen it. Yeah.
Yeah.
France never stood a chance, according to the poster.
Wasn't that was that the one where they get lost, or was that the Thornberrys one?
I don't know.
Actually, no, it was the first one, right? Rugrats.
The first one was the Rugrats movie. They got lost in that one. I forget where they were.
They were in like
the jungle or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did they meet the wild Thornberrys in that movie?
I don't think so. Because I know they made the first one, the Paris one, and the Thornberrys one.
Okay, yes, there was a third separate one with the Thornberrys because we needed that crossover in 2010. Apparently, the Thornberrys crossover. We just needed it.
Hey, I needed it. I needed all of them.
Yeah, now I need to look up when that movie came out. It couldn't have just been called that. Would have been way too long of a title. Rugrats Wild Thornberrys. Rugrats Go Wild. Oh, that was 2003. That was before this one. I think that was in between this one and. Actually, I might have gotten the years wrong on this. Hold on, I gotta look up when this movie came out. I think this might have been the 20-year anniversary of Rugrats in Paris. I quote tweeted it from our podcast account. Let me go check it out. That's at CSL Podcast if you're new to the program.
There's a 2020 live action Rugrats movie coming.
Oh yeah, we'll see. 2020? No doubt. Not gonna happen. Okay, I'm sorry. I messed that up. For some reason I thought it was November 2007. But I never actually said how many years ago it came out. But 20 years ago is when Rugrats in Paris dropped. We should have done that as a review. Would have been great. Unfortunately, we decided not to do that this week.
And it also doesn't fit into the category we have.
No, I mean, it could. It could be stretched. We could do an underrated animated movies at some other point. That would be more of a fit.
If we did underrated animated movies and we did the top 10,000, it would definitely be in there.
I don't really appreciate the sarcasm about this. Rugrats in Paris is. I know. I'll bring up Pokemon the movie, and you'll be like, "Oh, that's a shitty movie." I'll be like, "Oh, well, you've never seen it because you don't have culture in your life."
I've seen Pokemon the movie.
Okay, well, there you go. At least you have that. Did you see Pokemon Lugia Strikes Back? Did you see that one?
Oh, I don't think so.
No, Pokemon 2000. I think that might be the same movie actually.
I saw the first one in theaters when I was younger.
Yes, I did too. I also saw the Yu-Gi-Oh movie in theaters, and it was packed to the brim. People loved that movie.
I saw the Yu-Gi-Oh movie too, yeah. Pretty
good, actually. It was pretty good. Dave seeing several anime films is probably the biggest shock I've ever experienced in my life, like pop culture-wise. The fact that you've seen several of these anime major motion pictures. All right, for some reason, Pokemon Lugia didn't tell me what the movie was. Is it?
I used to be big into
Pokemon the Movie 2000. That's what it was. Which is such a weird title. It was called Pokemon the Movie 2000.
As if they needed to mark when it was.
Why did I think it was called Lugia Strikes Back? Because the first one was Pokemon the first movie, which pretty much just tells you, yeah, you know what you're in for. Then there's Pokemon 3, the movie. Who titled these? Pokemon 3, the movie. Yikes. What was it? Oh, I thought you said, yeah, I have a question. No. Well, anyway, Dave, we're talking about underrated comedies today. Before we get into that, we should probably tell the folks, we talked a little bit about this last week after, I believe it was Jeopardy, right? That was when we talked about this a little bit. And we were gaming out some of our favorite underrated comedies. And I think what made this such a good topic is because for listeners to the podcast, Dave and I disagree a lot with our guests. Our guests we have disagreements with, we go at, sometimes we tease. But Dave and I don't disagree with each other enough on this podcast. We need to disagree more. And that's a good thing to know when you're 187 episodes into your program that you need to disagree more. And we found ourselves disagreeing quite a bit on the movies we chose. Now, this isn't like a typical top 10. That's why I didn't label it as such, because Dave and I didn't do this together. I don't know what's on his list. He probably has an idea of what's on my list because I gave away most of what I was going to talk about last week. But I'm a little curious to see what's on your list. I have a couple of assumptions what'll be there, but there are a few movies you went at last week off air that really ground my gears, so to speak.
So before we each give our first movie, take one guess of a movie that's on my list.
Planes, Trains on your list?
No, because I figured that was like good. I thought that rating was good.
I'm glad that we both agree on that because that almost made my list, but I thought that movie is too revered for it to make my list. Like, people actually genuinely love that movie. It is a classic. I'm not putting it on my list. What other movie? I know you have Grandma's Boy. I know you do.
I do.
Yeah, of course you do. Well, we'll get to that. Don't worry about that. So I guess before we get into it, we might as well touch on, because it's nebulous, what an underrated comedy is. It's not like we're using Rotten Tomatoes. It's not like we're using any sort of system here. It's just kind of a gut feeling of movies you don't really hear people talk about. They weren't, I mean, you could kind of think they weren't critically revered. Some of these made a lot of money just because of virtue of who was in them. But it's not necessarily a movie that is widely revered as a classic. That's kind of how I view it. And I think all 10 of the movies on this list, you could argue one or two of them is a classic, maybe, but I think all the movies on my list are pretty soundly in that I think they're a great movie, but most people think they're good at best. So that's how I qualified it. I don't know if you were any different.
Yeah, I just tried to pick ones that I really, really enjoyed, and I felt like people were light on. Like, whether it was okay to good or good to great, or that people thought it was bad and I thought it was funny. That's kind of how I went about it. And I tried to get a glimpse of what people thought through IMDb, Metacritic, Rotten Tomato, both audience and critic, and kind of get a feel for what the average, thought process was on the movie.
Yeah. So might as well dive right in. Steve, do you want me to start or do you want to start?
You can start if you want.
Oh, that's what a gentleman. That's that Stoneham hospitality right there.
There it is.
That is that Stoneham hospitality. I visited Dave last October. He said you could stay the whole week. I was like, that is so kind of you. I appreciate that. So my number 10 is a movie that people genuinely don't like. So I think it's very underrated. I find myself still laughing. I don't watch it very often because it's really one of the most family-friendly movies this guy's made, at least in that stretch of his career. I'll wait till you stop taking a drink so you don't spit it out. My number 10 is Kicking and Screaming.
With Will Ferrell?
With Will Ferrell. Yes.
I actually almost had this on my list.
Yeah, I love Kicking and Screaming. Okay, I really like Kicking and Screaming. Let me temper that a little bit. I really like this movie. I think it has a lot of good laughs. I think this is a case where a lot of the kids are actually pretty funny. You got Beans. Who doesn't love Beans? Like, not the food, obviously. If you're an Even Stevens fan, you love Beans. He's great. Will Ferrell's funny. I like the scenes where he's addicted to coffee. I think that's a good running bit. Not every joke lands. That's why it's not a great movie. I think it's good. I do think it's a good movie. Robert Duvall definitely phones it in. Like, he's not on his A game. Let's put it that way. He's there for the check. We all know that. But thankfully, he's not in the movie a whole ton. He's billed really high because he's Robert Duvall, and this is like a family kids comedy. But I will say, Mike Ditka is actually pretty funny in this movie. Like, I hate to admit it because he's just hamming it up, and he's just like, being stupid. But the scene where his wife smells the cigar smoke and he tries to pin it on Will Ferrell, it's a pretty good scene. But I think ultimately it just comes down, and Josh Hutcherson, very, very young Josh Hutcherson as a kid in this movie, before he went on to be in the love triangle in the Hunger Games. But yeah, I like Kicking and Screaming a lot. I think it's a pretty good movie. It gets lost in the shuffle just because it wasn't on the level of his other comedies from that time period. Will Ferrell, I mean, he was in an unbelievable stretch at that point. And it didn't end for a few more years after that. So I think Kicking and Screaming is a worthy addition to my list.
Yeah, I enjoyed that. I almost put it on my list. I think it's one of the more fun movies. Like, I wouldn't say it's a great movie, and like you said, Duvall's just kind of mailing it in, but I just think like it's a very realistic adult kind of movie. Like, you could see this happening to some team, like where some lunatic coach just like takes over and like not necessarily has a rivalry with another coach because it's his dad. It's just like you can see this happening, like kids kind of like goofing around, having fun, and the coach takes it too seriously. Like that's a very realistic thing. It happens a lot. And I think overall it's a really funny movie. Will Ferrell's really good in it. And like you said, I think it kind of gets lost with his stretch of movies. Like that was kind of right in his prime right there. And I think for what this movie is, it's really fun.
Yeah, no, it's great. All right, so that's my number 10. Dave, what do you got?
All right. So first one I have listed here is I have Get Smart with Steve Carell and Anne Hathaway.
Yes, that is a bona fide classic.
I enjoyed it. I don't think it's a great movie by any stretch, but I enjoy it. I think Steve Carell's funny in it, and I think there's some really funny parts. It also is kind of weird because when you look back at it, there's Dwayne Johnson with hair. So that's a strange one. And
sore eyes, yes.
Yeah. And it's just like it's a movie where you watch it and you're like, all right, wow, they really could have done better than this. But it has a lot of really funny parts, and it makes me laugh a lot at some of these stupid, quirky jokes that Steve Carell has, because I just think when he does his random bits and his facial expressions and his anything he says, like in that high-pitched voice he gets, like when he does that almost like an impression of someone, like in The Office, he does it a lot. But I think it's just a really fun movie, and I think that if I had to give it like a ranking through our podcast for reviewing it, I would give it like a 32. I'd give it like a 64 or a 62 overall. But like I wouldn't say it's like a great movie, but it's still fun.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's good. I don't love it. It's fine. I'm not certainly gonna watch it ever again. It's just I'm not a big Anne Hathaway fan. Like I love Steve Carell. I mean, he does a decently good job playing the role. And the Rock with hair is a bit of a shock.
It throws you off.
I've seen this movie once. I think it was when we had like a free HBO thing or something. I was still with my parents when it came out. It was 2007. Was that the year?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah. So I was like 13 years old. And it was fine. I mean, I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. It was right in the middle for me. So I don't, if people hate it and think it's terrible, then I think saying it's a fine movie is definitely saying it's underrated. So I get it. It's a good choice. So no disagreeing yet. I didn't love it, but I think we'll have some disagreements down the road. All right. So my number 9 is Father of the Bride with Steve Martin. This is a movie no one really talks about. It's good. I bless you. I love The Father of the Bride. I think this is mostly because it's a movie I watched growing up with my mom. Whenever it was on TBS, we'd always watch it. It was almost like a tradition. Like, oh, it's on TBS. Like, we got to watch this movie. And then I think it was on Freeform one night, and it was on demand. And it just brought me back. I was like, this movie is real. The part 2 is okay. It's not great. Pretty much the whole cast comes back for it, but part 1's really good. It's just a typical. It's actually a remake of another movie, another Father of the Bride tale from many decades earlier. But it's typical story. Guy's daughter comes home with some guy she hasn't known for long. They're engaged. They're gonna get married. They're planning a wedding, and hilarity ensues. I mean, Steve Martin and Diane Keaton are fantastic. I mean, that's really all you need to know. The kid, whatever Culkin kid that is, Rory. I don't know which one it is, but one of the Culkin kids, not Macaulay. I know that. He plays her little brother. I forget her name, but the actress that plays Nina, also very good. But Steve Martin and Diane Keaton make the movie. There are cameos from Martin Short and Eugene Levy that are fantastic as well. But I think really, Martin Short actually plays a pretty big role in the movie, but he's very good. And I don't normally love Martin Short, so that's definitely a diversion from what I usually think. But Steve Martin and Diane Keaton are fantastic. It's about 90 minutes. It's pretty short, typical 90s comedy. And I think it's really good. And I think Steve Martin just knocks it out of the park. Steve Martin would have been on the list if we put Planes, Trains, and Automobiles in this list as well. But I think this movie is one of his more underrated that he's ever done.
Yeah, I've actually never seen this movie, but I know a lot of people enjoy it. My whole family enjoys it. So I can definitely see this being on the list as underrated. And it's interesting because Martin Short and Steve Martin obviously have like a long relationship. They go back a long way. They've done a lot of performances together. They do stand up together a lot of times. So that's
both members of the SNL five host club, 5-time host. Yeah.
But all right, so let's see. Next on my list, I actually have a list of like 15, so I'm just paring it down as we speak. My
This
next
is
one.
a bit of an inversion too, because usually I have a ton of honorable mentions, and you don't have that many. I have a few honorable mentions. I have one of my own, and I have a few that were submitted to us. So we'll get to those later. But you're number 9.
So my number 9 is, I don't even know if you've seen this movie. Have you seen Armed and Dangerous with John Candy and Eugene Levy?
Nope. Definitely fit the bill because I've never heard of this movie.
It's one of these movies that not a lot of people like and not a lot of critics like, but I thought when I watched it, I thought it was hilarious at first. Since I've watched it, it's not quite as funny as the first time I watched it, but I still think there's a lot of funny jokes, and John Candy's really funny. Eugene Levy's really funny. Overall, everyone else is kind of like bland or bad, but I think those two together make it for at least enjoyable enough to sit through because it's only in about an hour and 25 minutes. So it's not really a tough watch at all. And they play security guards, and they're trying to figure out this Ponzi scheme that the security guards are running, like the head honchos of the company. So it's an interesting plot. Certainly not going to win any awards, but I thought it was funny, so I put it on my list.
Never seen it. Barely even heard of it. I'm gonna have to pull it up because now I need to know.
The reviews were really, really low. Really low.
Armed and Dangerous movie.
Like really low.
Wow, look at this poster. My God. Yep, Eugene Levy. Who is that? Who is the actress in this?
Meg Ryan.
Okay. At Guard Dog Security, John Candy is keeping you safe from the scum of the earth. Okay, yep. That doesn't really tell you a whole lot about what the movie is about.
So,
ooh, 10% on Rotten Tomatoes. That's not great. Okay, hold on. So this a police officer who has been wrongly dismissed from his job, Frank Dooley, finds work as a security guard, along with Norman Kane, an inept lawyer. Unfortunately, the company that employs Frank and Norman is involved in some shady dealings, and it's up to the bumbling guards to foil the plans of the corrupt leaders, most notably tough mobster Michael Carlino, who isn't happy to have his profitable scheme threatened. Yikes. Harold Ramis wrote the screenplay, one of the 4 people that wrote it. That's usually not a good sign.
Yeah, I mean, it's not going to win any awards, but I thought it had a lot of funny parts in it.
Well, there isn't even a critic consensus on Rotten Tomatoes. It's only got 10 reviews, though.
It could bump up to like a 12.
Hold on, wait. We have the only positive review on Rotten Tomatoes comes from Steve Crum of the Kansas City Kansan, who wrote silly doings with Candy and Levy as inept security guards.
Hey, not wrong.
I suppose it's not. Anyway, no, haven't seen it, but I have to put it on my list. So far, an inoffensive beginning to Dave's list here. My number 8 is Ace Ventura: When Nature Calls, the sequel to Ace Ventura: Pet Detective. Yep, this is how it's going to start. This is a good movie. It's a good movie. I don't know what to tell you. It's a good movie. It is not. It doesn't hit the highs of Ace Ventura: Pet Detective, but it still has some good gags to it. It hasn't aged as well as, I mean, the other one. Okay, let me take that back. Both of them have aged horribly. Let me just put that first right out there. Both of them have aged pretty poorly. But When Nature Calls is a fine sequel. It's a little bit more of a convoluted plot to follow. There's definitely some more moving pieces in it. And, there's no like Dan Marino appearance in it. But it's got some pretty solid laughs. It's Jim Carrey being Jim Carrey. I mean, it's probably good they didn't do a third one because it wasn't on par as the first one. But I think when it comes to comedy sequels, which if you'll notice, the list of good comedy sequels, very short because they usually aren't very good. That's what comedy and horror have in common. Usually the sequels aren't great. But I think Ace Ventura: When Nature Calls still has a decent amount of laughs. He eats bat shit. That's funny. That's funny stuff. Come on, that's a good gag. What was he when he's climbing out of the rhino? Come on, that's a good scene. That's funny. I can see you cracking a laugh right now. I can see it. That or you hate fun. One of the two options.
You know me. I hate fun.
I know you hate fun. That's right. I don't know why you don't like this movie. It's a good movie.
It's not my favorite.
Yeah, okay. That's diplomatic.
That's all I'll say. It's not my favorite.
Come on now. Why isn't it your favorite? What is there not to like about it? Jim Carrey at the peak of his powers.
I just don't like it, and I think it's annoying and not funny.
So let me ask you this: do you like the first one?
No,
What? Are you out of your mind?
I don't like any Ace Ventura movies.
Okay, well, first of all, there's two of them. Second of all,
Exactly, I don't like any of them. I don't like either one.
how don't you like the first one?
I thought he's just kind of like annoying. I don't find Jim Carrey all like incredibly funny overall.
Dude, Dumb and Dumber is one of the best comedies ever made.
That's a funny movie. I like him in that movie.
The movie is incredible.
Overall like okay, I like him in Yes Man. I like him in
Okay, get the hell out of here. You like him in Yes Man? That better not be on your list. That better not be on your list.
No, that's an honorable mention.
Oh my god, get the hell out of here with Yes Man.
Spoiler.
His last good movie was Bruce Almighty, probably.
Yeah, probably.
That was 2005. That was before Yes Man, so don't agree with me so fast.
No, it probably was. I mean, Yes Man's not a good movie, but I still enjoyed it.
Is the whole premise is it's pretty much just liar, liar, but all he could say is yes instead of not lying.
I mean, it's funny.
Except Liar Liar is actually a good movie.
They're both good movies.
I don't know about that. That's probably a good choice not to put that one on there. But When Nature Calls, come on. Among comedy sequels, that's good stuff.
When Nature Calls, yeah. There's a reason why it's the same thing as like taking a leak.
It's because I was trying to think of a pun there. Couldn't think of a good one. It PO'd a lot of people that thought it would fail. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah. It's yeah. I don't think so.
Good movie. All right. Well, what's your number 8, smartass?
All right. My number 8.
You're gonna hit me with Grandma's Boy.
I am. I'm gonna hit you with Grandma's Boy. Grandma's Boy is my number 8.
Okay, well, that movie sucks.
That movie does not suck.
Dude, Alan Covert, great as a third character in Adam Sandler movies. He should not be the lead in any of them.
This movie is funny.
I don't think so. I think it's painful. That's what I think it is.
Have you seen him when he tries to cook his dinner and he takes the tray out without oven mitts and he burns his hands? That's hilarious.
You know that's something that would happen in a Jim Carrey movie, and you say, "Oh, it's stupid, it's annoying."
No, because he'd do that and he'd drop the pan and be like, make all these like weird faces and be like, "Oh, I guess I should have gotten everything."
A fantastic physical comedian. That's why.
How did he do as Joe Biden?
Well, it's terrible as that. I didn't say he's a good impressionist. I say he's a great physical comedian. Different thing.
I know they are, but
but did you catch when he said "Le Hoozer"? Did you catch that? That was an Ace Ventura reference.
Yes.
A movie that everybody loves, along with a sequel that everybody likes. No, but please tell me more about how Grandma's Boy is cinematic.
Tell you what. Right now on our podcast account, put up a poll. Do you like Grandma's Boy? Yes, no, or in the middle? I guess.
It's binary.
Okay. I bet you this gets over 50% yes. More than half the people like this movie.
Okay. You might be right, but I think it's a bad opinion. I'm going to put it up right now.
Tell you what. If it gets over 50%, you have to watch. If it gets under, I'll watch Ace Ventura again.
Well, we need a number of votes here, though. It can't be like 5 people vote and it's 60-40. I'll tell you what. If it gets at least 30 votes and it's over 50%, I'll watch Grandma's Boy again.
How about this? If it gets over 20, and whoever has the majority, the other person has to watch the other person's movie. I'll watch Ace Ventura. You'll watch Grandma's Boy.
Wow. Okay. All right. I'll agree to that. Okay. All right.
And we can't vote. Me and you can't vote.
No, we cannot. I hope that we unless we just both vote and it would cancel each other out. I mean,
yeah, but we just won't vote.
I won't vote from any of my podcasts.
You can't vote from any of your podcasts. Emily can't vote either.
I don't control the Elite 2 by myself, and I don't control the Lost Boys by myself. So Josh and Steve could vote from those accounts. So that would actually probably benefit you.
I think they both like Grandma's Boy. So
I really hope it gets no votes. Quite honestly.
It's gonna get votes.
People are going to decide, and I think because I have a horrible track record against you in bets, I'm probably gonna be watching Grandma's Boy. Well, that's great. That movie, by far the worst one we've mentioned so far, and you talked about Armed and Dangerous, so there's that. Speaking of movies that Dave doesn't like but are still good, My number 7 is Walk Hard, the Dewey Cox story. This movie, very good movie. Great send up of Walk the Line and all these movie biopics. John C. Reilly, a legitimately good actor, and he is good in this movie, playing a bunch of different parts, but is the same guy. You know, he has his Bob Dylan phase, his Jim Morrison phase, and I just think it's such a brilliant satire. And have you at least seen the movie?
I have seen the movie, yeah.
You got to admit the Beatles scene is very funny.
There are some funny parts. Yeah, I'll admit that.
So I will admit this. I'm not saying it's a fantastic movie. I just think
we got one yes. Ken already voted yes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Ken's wrong.
Ken is right. Ken, you have great taste.
Ken's wrong. Ken's very wrong. Anyway, let me talk about Walk Hard. It's my turn, sir.
Okay. Go ahead.
But the thing about Walk Hard is that, yes, there are definitely lulls in it, and it's not a terribly long movie, which is good. I mean, most comedies aren't. But I think it's pretty well done. It sends up the genre, but it also sticks to a lot of its tropes pretty well. And you know, the wrong kid died. Jonah Hill as the ghost is very funny. Like I said, the Beatles scene is maybe one of my favorite scenes in any comedy over the past 20 years. I've rewatched that scene on YouTube a ton of times. It's one of the funniest things I've ever seen. When he hits him with, I wonder if your songs will still be shit when I'm 64. It sends me every time, too. Oh, it's so good. If people at home haven't seen it, it's Jack Black as Paul McCartney, Paul Rudd as John Lennon, Justin Long as George Harrison, and Jason Schwartzman as Ringo Starr. It just gets me every single time. It is so, so good. I'll give you that. The lows of this movie are definitely boring, but I think it has enough highs that it propels it into the good category.
It's also, if anyone's listening and hasn't seen it, I believe it's on Netflix.
I think so. It's been on Netflix for a while.
I think it just got added to Netflix this month.
It was on Netflix for a while, and I think it left, and now I think you're right. It's back. So yeah.
I'd be curious. This is a kind of off topic a little bit, but I'd be curious to see the Netflix and like streaming services agreement of how they keep coming back. Like, I'd be curious to know what the length is they can have it for and how long and everything. That'd be interesting to me. But I think this movie overall, I think there's some definite funny parts, so I can't say it's a terrible movie. I think it's just okay. I just don't think it's that good overall. But I think there's some funny parts. It's well casted. I'm just not a big fan.
Well, let me tell you what. Things aren't looking great for me so far in this poll.
Yeah.
I'm going to quote you with my own opinion here. It's a
funny movie.
I'm telling you, it's not a good movie. It sucks. And Wheelman Wes over here said, why not both, with that gif of the little girl saying, why not both? Yeah, I guess it could be both, which kind of leans to my point more, but it looks like Wes voted yes. So you know what?
Is it 3-0?
It's 3-0 right now, but there's a lot of time. Still a lot of time on the board. Anyway, Dave, you're number 7.
All right. My number 7 is
Truman Show 2. No, I'm looking.
Is what?
I said The Truman Show 2.
No, it is Death at a Funeral, the new one with Chris Rock.
Yeah. Okay. I've never seen it, but I've actually heard decently good things about it.
Yeah, I thought it was. I've never seen the first one, so I can't say if it's better than the original. I have no idea, but it's really funny. Like, it has Martin Lawrence, it has Peter Dinklage as like this random guy that his father apparently had an affair with, and it's just overall it's really funny. I forget, James Marsden I believe is in it. I'm trying to think of who else, but I can't think of. It's what Danny Glover. There's a lot of big names in it. It's really funny. It's sort of like this just chaotic family event, and the daughter gives James Marsden Valium by accident instead of anxiety pills, and he ends up like naked on the roof. It's just like there's a lot of really funny parts. Bad movie overall. Like, the script is not great, but the lines are really funny. Some of the improv is really funny. Some of the choices the characters make are funny. So it's a fun watch. If anyone's looking for kind of like a fresh take on something. Sounds like
an accurate description of all the things I like about When Nature Calls, but I think that was a good movie. So I don't know. It seems weird, doesn't it?
Tell you what, watch Death at a Funeral and tell me you don't like it.
I'm not going to do another poll with you because right now I'm getting absolutely slaughtered in this thing.
5-0, right?
5-0 at the moment.
Yeah. I told you, people like Grandma's Boy.
A lot of people come to the defense of this trash movie.
People like this movie. It's fun.
Yeah, I don't think so. Emily, what's your favorite underrated comedy? Maybe it's my number 6. I think you agree with me on this one. I'll show it to you. Number 6. Yeah, Emily agrees. My number 6, Dave, is Legally Blonde with Reese Witherspoon.
Movie.
It's one of those cases of it's a really good movie. I just think that the fact that it came out around the same time as Mean Girls, it just overshadowed that movie a lot. Yeah, it's by far of the movies I've mentioned so far the best one.
It's the best movie either of us has mentioned.
Yeah, and I think really only 2 movies on my list can compete with it in actual quality. I've not gotten to those yet, and there's a reason those are my top 2 movies. But Legally Blonde, it's a very good script. Reese Witherspoon knocks it out of the park. I don't like a measure of a good movie for me, especially is when an actor I don't like at all actually compels me in the movie, and that's Luke Wilson. I can't stand Luke Wilson, but he's good in the movie. Victor Garber, total ass in the movie, terrible. Selma Blair, great. The Will Ferrell looking guy who plays the what's his name? Oh my god, what's like you're gonna remember? What's the guy that the doofy guy that she sets up with those girls and makes it look like she broke up with them in the middle of the street? What the hell's his name? I keep wanting to say Warner, but that's the ex-boyfriend. Oh my god, I can't remember. But he's kind of like a doofy Will Ferrell looking guy. Who else? What?
Is that the actor? He's Warner.
No, not Warner. I'm thinking who's another like tall brown hair guy. He was kind of like the loser. You might have to scroll a little bit.
Yeah, I don't see him on here. He's
help me out. Who's the one who did her nails? What was her name? Lunette? Was that it? Luann? Was that it?
I don't see a Luann.
Oh my god. What's the name of the woman that the Bend and Snap woman?
The Bend and Snap woman?
Have you seen this movie?
Not recently.
The Bend and Snap, the move she teaches her to hit on the UPS guy and she breaks his nose.
Oh, I remember when she breaks his nose, but I don't remember the Bend and Snap.
Paulette is her name. Jennifer.
I thought we were looking for a guy.
No, well, no, I was. Then I switched gears. Oh, Ali Larder. I forgot Ali Larder was the woman who's accused, and she has liposuction, and she can't say it. And oh my god, what is this guy's name? I'm gonna look. I'm gonna find it.
I forgot Holland Taylor was in this movie.
Oh yeah, you're right. Oh, that's right. Holland Taylor. What do I know? Is she the one from The Blacklist?
She's from 2.5 Men.
And oh no, okay. I'm thinking of the one who plays Grace Mallory in The Boys.
Oh yeah, that's not her.
Oh my god, that's right. Linda Cardellini was the killer. I forgot about her. You can't even really recognize her in this movie.
Linda Cardellini's had a really good career.
This guy's name is literally Dorky David in the movie, and he's played by a guy named Oz Perkins, for the record. Seven. That's not great. I don't like those numbers. I'll put it frank to you. I don't like those numbers. But I'm still below the threshold of 20. So if 19 people vote for you, and I'll tell you what, if it's below 20 and there's still 0 votes for no, I'll still do it. But there have to be 0 votes if it's below 20.
But you and Emily can't vote.
Well, hold on now.
I said that before we started.
I said I would not vote for many of my accounts. That's not dissuade her.
Emily,
she's not anywhere near us right now. She's actually drying her hair. She can't hear anything we're talking about.
Oh, okay. Well, when she's back, we have to ask if she likes it.
I will not tell. She probably hasn't seen it.
I doubt that most.
This is a loaded cast. I also think the last scene where she susses out that Linda Cardellini is the killer. That's a great, really compelling scene. And it's just a great story of this girl who was underestimated and was looked at as a ditz and an idiot, and she ends up being this brilliant lawyer. And I've never actually seen the second one, but I'm looking forward to the third one, mostly because A, Reese Witherspoon's coming back, and B, Mindy Kaling's going to co-write the script. What happened now on this?
Pat Lane, you don't have a great button, so I'm confused.
Oh my god, This is. Oh, I finally got a bad vote. I finally got one.
8-1.
It is now 8-1. I finally got a bad vote on this.
Did you text Emily to vote bad?
I didn't. She's again. Okay, I don't know who these people are. Apparently, Gianna quoted a line, "Don't judge me, monkey." She posted a video of that, GIF of that line. I'm going to ask her when Emily comes back in if she's seen the movie. I don't think she's seen the movie. But anyway, Legally Blonde, fantastic. If you haven't seen it, check it out. One of the best movies on this list for me. Dave, you're number 6.
Oh, shit. Hold on.
Dave is having technical difficulties, everybody. He's good. I think he dropped his phone.
We're good. I dropped my phone, yeah. All right, so
Can you try to keep the adult language to a minimum, please? We have kids watching this? Probably not, but maybe.
All the kids have seen Grandma's Boy, though, and they all enjoy it.
Kids love Grandma's Boy. I bet you got Beer Fest on this list, too.
They all enjoy it. My number 6.
Beer Fest. Van Wilder 3.
I don't know if you've seen this, but I've seen it's Anger Management.
Oh my god!
I've told you to watch this. Have you seen it?
You got kidding me with this shit, right? Like Anger Management.
This movie is funny.
Oh my god! Just the posters. It's like a movie when you look at the poster and you're like, this just looks bad. And then I've never seen this movie in full because I can't bear to sit through it. But post 2003 Adam Sandler, or post 1999 Adam Sandler or 2000 Adam Sandler, like from 2000 to except for Punch Drunk Love, from 2000 to when he made Uncut Gems, he's made nothing but bad movies. Emily, have you seen Grandma's Boy? Nope, she has not seen it. I thought that would be the answer, but anyway, I just lost my train of thought. Sandler, right? So he was just making really bad movies at that point. Again, except for Punch Drunk Love. So anything comedy, it was a dumpster fire. And then you got Jack Nicholson, who also was in a period of his career where he wasn't really making great things. So you put them together, and I didn't want to see that. So Anger Management can get out of my face. But I need to know what you like about this movie.
Have you given it a shot since?
No.
So how can you say you don't like it?
Well, I gotta watch Grandma's Boy apparently, so I gotta put that on my queue before I get.
How can you say you don't like it if you haven't seen it since?
I haven't seen it in full because I don't want. It's
go.
I don't want to see it in full. That's the thing.
You can't say it sucks if you don't know if you haven't seen it.
How do you know that shocking yourself for a full minute with a taser isn't bad if you don't do it for a full minute? I did it for 10 seconds. I did it for 10 seconds. I thought it would be great, and then I was like, why not? But if you do it for a full minute, maybe it'll feel great.
I feel like that's not the same, though. If
you've seen Anger Management, it's definitely the same.
No, this movie has funny parts in it. He beats up a monk. That happens to be John C. Reilly.
Oh, well, that's funny. Walk Hard had funny parts, too, and that was a bad movie. That's interesting.
Yeah. I didn't say, first of all, I didn't say it was bad. I said it was an okay movie.
I'm watching you over there, Mr. It's not a good.
I said it has funny parts, well casted, okay movie.
Oh, so we are at 11-1, by the way. That's where we're at ratio-wise.
I know what the people like. You're kind of a little out of touch right now. That's just how it is.
I'm definitely not out of touch. I'm on the right side of history right now. Grandma's Boy is a good movie. You people are crazy. Steve, if you're saying Steve said never seen it. Steve, have you seen Grandma's Boy? / did you vote against me in this poll? I need to know. I need to know what he's gonna say. But anyway,
Tyler Salk just nominated Due Date.
Oh, okay. I was just gonna say Tyler Salk. Tyler, we're gonna save the submissions till the end. We will mention that. Well, I'll make sure. It's not too late. Don't worry. You got it in right under the wire. But we'll get back to that. I'll put on the list of movies to touch on in honorable mentions. Yeah, I can't say I agree with that, but you know what? That's why our lists are. You guys can understand why Dave and I didn't combine lists for this, because it would be a list of 20 movies. Probably it'd probably just be 10 of his and 10 of mine. It'd be no tiebreaker. But yeah, so that's fine. Whatever. You know what? I can't force you to change what you like. If you want to like a bad movie, that's fine. That's your prerogative. I understand. I'll support you. I will. All right, so getting into the top 5 here. I know you're going to love this one. Big Jim Carrey fan you are. I'm going with The Mask as my number 5. I really like The Mask. I think because I've talked about it ad nauseum, but 1994 was a huge year for Jim Carrey. He did Dumb and Dumber. He did Ace Ventura, the first one, the best one. And he did The Mask. And The Mask is kind of the one that flies under the radar of those 3 movies. It's still very good. I think it definitely is the weakest of the 3. but I think it's because it has the kind of the way more serious like plot line that goes through it, and it's got funny parts. I think it's definitely a little jarring seeing him in the mask makeup and how he has those teeth in, so it kind of is hard to understand him. But there are some really good scenes, like the dancing scene when he's trying to get around the police officers. The end scene in the club is very good. His first transformation. I think the peak of the movie, maybe not the peak, but the best scene in the movie is when he goes to the nightclub for the first time as the mask, and he a scene that my family and I have quoted many times when he gets shot, quote unquote, gets shot, and he's dying in the henchman's arms, and he's giving his Oscar speech. It's still one of the best moments of the movie and one of the more memorable moments of that year in Jim Carrey's career. But I really like The Mask. I think it's definitely an unheralded movie in Jim Carrey's catalog, especially in '94, where those other two were such incredible successes. I think definitely more memorable than The Mask. But I think what goes into it is the fact that it's not as appealing to look at as just Jim Carrey's goofy face in Dumb and Dumber and Ace Ventura. He's in a mask. It's a lot of makeup. It's definitely more of suspension of disbelief. But it's still a very good movie. I really like The Mask. And I know it was on your list of movies to end up seeing, but if you haven't seen it yet, I do recommend it.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet, but I know I've heard good things, and I'm definitely going to end up watching it at some point this month because obviously, I'm doing a comedy a day, so definitely will be on the list. All right, so my number 5, to break into my top 5, I have Super Troopers at number 5. I know you don't like this movie.
Not really. Another movie I couldn't finish.
You couldn't finish? It's so funny, though.
Oh, but they do the meowing thing. That's hysterical.
That is funny.
Whatever.
This movie is just...
I'll say it's fine. It's fine movie.
I mean, overall, it's not high quality as far as, a lot of great performances acting-wise. It's just, a lot of stupid humor and toilet jokes and stuff like that. It's not, gonna win any awards or any serious maturity things or anything. But it's funny. It has some funny parts. There's some jokes and gags that they do that really make you laugh. So I think that a lot of people love this movie, but I think it's a cult comedy kind of movie.
It is. It's definitely a cult classic because it's one of those movies that critics despised for the most part. It's fine. I mean, it's just not a movie I'm going to go back and rewatch. I know a lot of people love it and quote it all the time. It's just not one I could really get into. There was no really star that I could attach myself to and say, "Oh, they're great. I'm going to watch this." It just I never really bought into it. It just didn't come off as funny to me. I heard the sequel was garbage.
The sequel has a couple funny parts, but overall it's not great.
Yeah. I mean, if the movie is not good, you need the comedy part of it to be funny, at least, and that didn't sound like it was the case for the second one. But yeah, so Super Troopers, I get it being on your list. It's not for me. But that's what 10 movies now that we've named, that's 11 movies now that we made, and there hasn't been 12 movies. There hasn't been a crossover yet between the two of us.
I don't think there will be in the entire list.
Nope, I don't think so. There might be one. It depends on how you qualified it, but we'll see.
What one are you thinking might be one?
I can't say it because it's my number one.
Well, no, it's your number one. Okay.
So my number 4 is a movie that I know definitely isn't on your list because you told me on Wednesday. I should put a poll up for this one, you smartass. I know you get crushed in this one. My number 4 is Talladega Nights, The Ballad of Ricky Bobby, which is Will Ferrell's most underrated movie. Hold on, let me take that back. His second most underrated movie. Just kind of scaling it because people still do recognize it as a good movie. The people who are big Will Ferrell fans, but I think it doesn't get enough attention because it's obviously a satire of NASCAR and how ridiculous it can be, and a lot of the prejudices that come along with NASCAR and all that stuff. But it's a lot of the I think the movie is very funny. It's the Southern accent is it reaches that point in comedy where it's really good, and then it's like, all right, that's enough, and then by the end of it, it's funny again. It's a really, really funny movie. Amy Adams is very good, and John C. Reilly and Will Ferrell have fantastic chemistry, as we know. And this was really our first insight into that. And you could argue if this movie wasn't great or wasn't successful or wasn't adored by people. Who knows if we ever get Step Brothers if this movie isn't that great. But they really worked well together. It's fantastic. I think a very underrated performance in this movie is Michael Clark Duncan, rest in peace. When Will Ferrell gets back to the garage and he's like, Lance is dead, Ricky, and he's like, what? He's like, he died in an accident last night. And then you see Jack McBrayer peeking around the corner, and he's like, what? Lance, I can see you. He's like, I'm sorry, I just got so wrapped up. It's so good. I love Talladega Nights. I think Emily is on your side on this one, but I love Talladega Nights. I think it's such
here's the thing about Talladega Nights. There's definitely funny parts to it, like the Cheerios or the Lucky Charms underneath the car when he's
don't try and smoke these Lucky Charms.
Don't try to snort them. And then there's like the running around naked like he's on fire. There's when he sticks the knife in his leg because he says he's paralyzed. The wheelchair basketball game is funny. Like it's like there's funny parts of this movie. I just think overall it wears me down by the end. I think I'm just like not interested in the end of it.
I think it definitely kind of hits a low point here and there, but I think overall it just knocks every joke out of the park. When they're having dinner with all the foods, when his wife was like, I've been slaving over this for hours, and it's like
KFC and Taco Bell.
And he does the Powerade promotion at the dinner table.
I think the most underrated from that is the hands. I don't know what to do with my hands.
Yeah,
and
that's
keep popping up.
Well, I mean, the quotes that I think most people say from that movie, obviously, is "If you ain't first, you're last," which is the big one from that. But I think another one people use a lot is "When I wake up in the morning, I piss excellence." That's a big one that people say a lot. Emily, Talladega Nights, good or bad? Oh, she said it's fantastic. Look at her. Big thumbs up for Emily. Huge thumbs up. Huge. Loves it. It's her favorite Will Ferrell movie. No, your favorite Will Ferrell movie is Elf, right? Yeah, that's not a surprise. By the way, Dave, it's 14-1 right now for keeping track of the poll.
I told you.
It's not looking great.
I told you. This was a mistake on your part.
I still think there's a chance I come back. I did a poll whether Grandma's Boy is good or bad, and
there's a less than 1% chance you can win this.
Even if I used all my accounts I could vote from, I would still lose this. Like, even if I voted for my personal, from the Elite 2, from the Lost Boys, I would still lose this. If I asked Emily to vote, I would lose it. Like, if I lose this, I'd watch that trash movie. So I'm not happy about it. But
the one where he's in a bubble?
Nope, that's Bubble Boy with Jake Gyllenhaal. A movie I forgot about until this very moment, actually. Grandma's Boy is a movie about a guy who's like at best a third-tier character in an Adam Sandler movie, and he becomes the lead in this movie. And for some reason, people think it's funny. He was you've seen the Wedding Singer, right? He was the limo driver, Sammy. And then it was like, you know what? Let's take him 15 years later and put him in his own movie as a lead. And somehow people think that's funny. But anyway, what was it? Well, you'll have to watch it because the way things are looking right now, I'll be forced to. So there's that. I should just stop making bets with Dave, but I know I won't because I'm a glutton for punishment. So, that's not true. I love watching these.
Well, the other ones were just picking out who wins the awards. It wasn't even like This was just leaving it up to the people, and the people have spoken.
They sure have. Well, we don't know yet. Hasn't hit 20 votes yet. We gotta wait for it to 20.
Could be fraud too. You never know.
That's right. We gotta wait for all the legal votes to be counted.
Yeah. No.
All right.
We can't have any non-legal votes.
No, we can't. Dave, what is your number 4?
So my number 4 is, I don't know if you've seen this. Analyze This.
Is that the first one?
Yeah, the first one.
That Bill Murray and Richard Dreyfuss.
Billy Crystal.
Bob. I'm sorry, it's the wrong movie. Who is this?
Billy Crystal and Robert De Niro.
Oh, okay. Billy Crystal, Robert De Niro. Okay. All right.
It's very funny. Billy Crystal's a therapist and Robert De Niro is a mafia boss, and he basically works with Billy Crystal in private, and it just like kind of unravels and stuff happens. And I can't really go into further detail without kind of giving away the whole movie, but it's really funny. There's a lot of really quirky, kind of funny things. Billy Crystal's really, really good in this. Robert De Niro's funny as the mob boss. A lot of his like goons and henchmen are really funny. Overall, just to me, it's a really really solid comedy. It's a good movie too. I feel like this is probably the best movie that I've thrown out so far.
I would say, yeah, I don't remember all your movies word for word, but I think that, yeah, that might be right. I've heard really good things about Analyze This. I think it's definitely one that gets lost in the shuffle if you try to categorize underappreciated or underrated movies. I think Lost in the Shuffle is where this one would fall because I think people liked it. It's just not the first one that will come to mind for most people as a classic.
And I think I almost put Midnight Run on here, but looking up the ratings and the scores, like it's too highly thought of for me to.
They did rewatchables on that movie, right?
Yeah, there is. It's a very good movie. Robert De Niro's in that too. That's one of his early roles. Like he's really young in that.
What's that one about? I've never seen Midnight Run.
It's Robert De Niro's kind of like he's a bounty hunter, and there's this guy that's like stealing money from this like mob boss or casino boss, and he ends up trying to bring him back for a reward, and then the mob comes after him, and there's other bounty hunters after Robert De Niro to try to take the guy back from him.
Jesus.
And
this is a comedy?
And it's a comedy, yeah. He's like all this stupid stuff happens along the way.
Ah, okay. I've heard good things about it.
Yeah, 94 Rotten Tomato critic, 87 audience, 78 Metacritic, 7.5 IMDb. It's too high for me to put on this list in just 5 minutes.
We might have to do a new series on the show where it's just called "I've heard it's good." I've heard good things. It's just about stuff we haven't seen yet.
That's literally every movie we list that the other person hasn't seen.
All right, so my number 3, and I have a feeling Dave knows where I'm going with this. I mentioned it was the first movie I mentioned last week when we brought up this topic. And there's a reason I had to amend what I said at number 4 about it being the most underrated Will Ferrell movie. Because that title goes to Blades of Glory. Blades of Glory is an absolute hidden gem, my friend. Blades of Glory is so freaking funny. I looked, that movie is not available to stream anywhere. You can't find it anywhere unless you have like a premium Hulu subscription. It is not available to stream anywhere, which really sucks because I really enjoy this movie. It's not like, I mean, Step Brothers came out the year after this, so it's definitely not the level. Step Brothers is not Anchorman. Like, it's not like that. But it is firmly, I think, in the good Will Ferrell movie category. I don't think it gets the love it deserves. It's a star-studded cast. Will Ferrell, John Heder, Amy Poehler, Jenna Fisher, Will Arnett, tons of people in this movie. And Will Arnett and Amy Poehler are very, very good as the rivals. Jenna Fisher is good as the love interest. And then Chaz Michaels and Jimmy McElroy, an incredible pairing. I mean, if you want to chalk it up to John Heder just being not like an excellent casting choice, he's good. He's good in the movie. But I'm just not a huge fan of his when he's not doing Napoleon Dynamite shit. So there's that. But I think this movie, I'm not saying it's great. It's not a masterpiece. But I definitely think it has a lot of highs to it. And the end scene with I Don't Want to Miss a Thing, classic stuff. Fantastic. Blades of Glory, good movie. Good movie.
I understand it's well cast. There's a lot of big names in it, but I just don't find this movie that funny. I don't think it's that good. I don't think it's entertaining or funny to me. I understand I may be in the minority there, but I don't like this movie.
Well, I almost put Collision Course number 3.
We both have to dispute that.
Yeah, I think so. I really like Blades of Glory. I saw it in theaters. I have not seen it much since. I used to own it, but I could not tell you where that DVD is, to be frank with you. No, fun fact, you've seen it, right?
I have seen it, yeah.
Fun fact, for a while, my voicemail was, if you can dream it, you can do it. Which was Jimmy's voicemail.
I actually saw that movie in theaters, too.
Yeah. I really like this movie. I think it's very good. It's got that usual Will Ferrell shtick. Very well done. Emily's about to do an impromptu Dunkin' advertisement. That's good. Dunkin', sponsor the podcast. We'll take it. But anyway, Blades of Glory, I think it's a very good movie. Oh, look at all those coupons in there. Dunkin' Donuts. America. It's crossing state lines runs on Dunkin'. I mean, come on. What better to advertise for on a podcast than a Rhode Island guy and a Massachusetts guy? You got the Stoneham, you got the Warwick, you got everything. It is, you got the two big, don't fact check this, the two biggest municipalities in both states You got
And just for our listeners, when you go up to the register, use code crossing state lines, and they'll give you a coffee at regular price.
They will. That's Emily loves that joke. I got a great laugh. If I said it, ooh, I get looks. But yeah, no. If you do that, so go up, say code crossing state lines. They will say what, and
they'll play all aloof, like they don't know.
Yeah,
and then they'll give you the code, which is pay the regular price for the coffee.
They'll give you the code, which is the last 4 digits of your debit card number.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, definitely sponsor us. You got the Rhode Island, you got the Massachusetts, it's a New England family here. We've had guests on, I think, from other states. Ryan Campbell, Maine guy. That's something. At some point, John will come on. He's New Hampshire, so we'll get all the bases covered. We're gonna have a podcast one night where all 6 squares here on StreamYard is somebody from a different state. We'll have to get that going.
We should.
I see. The issue is just making sure those people are in that state at that point. I know somebody we can get from New Hampshire. We're completely off the rails, by the way. We are nowhere talking about our main topic at all. But yeah, so we'll have to get that going. But anyway, for the time being, Dave, you're number 3.
All right, my number 3, Hot Tub Time Machine.
That's good. That's a good one.
I love Hot Tub Time Machine. I think it's a hilarious movie. I think it's wildly underrated. Like when people talk about really good comedies, it almost never is brought up. And I think it's up there as a really good comedy. It's extremely well casted. Clark Duke, Craig Robinson, Rob Corddry. I think it's hysterical in this movie. Sebastian Stan is in it too. Chevy Chase, who's not my favorite, but he's in there. But John Cusack's obviously the lead, but I'm not a huge John Cusack guy anyway. But
yeah, he's all right.
Yeah, I could take a lead. But Rob Corddry, I think, is hilarious in this movie, and Craig Robinson I think he's funny in almost everything he does. But
yeah, it's a very good cast. They really hit the nail on the head. It's a good one. I think it's a fringe pick just because there are a lot of people who like it. But I think that the 2010s has been such a wasteland for comedy that it rises above most of what's come out this decade. It's good. I caught like the last 2/3 of it one day. I didn't see the first act. I haven't seen the movie full through, but it is still it's a very good movie. Very funny. I found myself laughing quite a bit. The scene where they're on the roof with Rob Corddry, it's good stuff. Sebastian Stan when they think they're like Russian agents or some shit. Oh, it's very good. It's very good.
Because the whole idea of it and the premise makes no sense. Like they go in a hot tub and they transfer or they teleport to different universes in time. It's just like a different place in time. It's just like it makes no sense. What makes it funny already right off the bat, but
it's preposterous. Yeah, it's preposterous.
It is, and the end of the movie is actually really, really funny too.
Yeah. When he owns Google, except what's it called?
He just like took his knowledge and invented everything.
It's not called Google. It's called something else, right? Or is it still Google?
I can't remember what it was called, but he just they go back in time and they're living the lap of luxury, and he's on this big yacht.
No, that's right. No, they changed the name of Motley Crue, wasn't it? It was something else.
Yeah.
What was it?
I don't remember.
I'm gonna look it up. Because that was a funny part of it. Now keep riffing on Hot Tub Time Machine.
No, but I think personally, Rob Corddry is. I don't know what you think, but I think he's the funniest one in the movie. Craig Robinson.
Motley Lou is what the name of the
band.
Yeah,
because his name's Lou. Rob Corddry's name is Lou. Yeah.
Lou. That's good stuff. That is really good stuff. And I think it must be Lugal, right? Because it's not Google. It must.
Lugal.
Yeah. And then Craig Robinson's this award-winning producer, and it's really good.
Yeah, and again, I think you're probably right. It's probably on the fringe of it's probably too good to be on this list, but I think overall, it's good enough that to me it should be mentioned more than it is. I think the movies that I had, like I said, Midnight Run, My Cousin Vinny, Office Space, Meet the Parents. Those are all movies that I think were just. I had on the list and I double checked and they're just too good to be on here as far as rankings. But I think Hot Tub Time Machine is still in that realm where it's really good and it's good enough to be on here.
Live poll update 17-1.
You're going down in flames here.
Not good. I need to
figure out who's the one.
At this point, I really think the one is somebody that accidentally voted for Matt.
I'm curious who the one is. So if anyone's listening and you're the one, just let us know.
It's been up 36 minutes, and we've gotten almost to the point where I've lost. This is like the Cats poll.
Yeah, I told you it's a good movie. It's funny.
Or, that wasn't a poll. That was likes, but still, same thing. All right, so
that was because people hated us and they wanted us to feel our pain. They don't know what the repercussions are for this.
That's fair. They don't know. They didn't realize and the pain that we went through for that podcast. Anyway,
if they knew that you had to watch it, I'm sure we'd get double the votes.
Yeah, that's true. I should have put more. I should have put more just for the exposure of it. But anyway, my number 2 is Uncle Buck with John Candy. This one's what? I think it's underrated. I think it's on the fringe because I don't think people talk about it enough. And what? Oh my God. That is a great one. I forgot about that one. I'm going to put that on the list unless people heard it already, I'm going to put it on the list for honorable mentions. I'm definitely get off the scale. But anyway, number 2 is Uncle Buck. I think Uncle Buck is not discussed enough. It is insanely quotable, very good movie. You get a little Macaulay Culkin in there. You get the woman from Yes Dear in there. She's the daughter. Macy, adorable. The parents, idiots. What's the name of his love interest? It's not like Audrey, but it's something like that. She's funny. She really, gets to Buck and like really needles him a lot. And he's just it's the best thing about John Candy, a lovable, flawed character you can't help but just adore. And he is fantastic. But the best of them, that's also a good one. But the best is the scene with the clown. I think is probably the highlight of them. That and the
best scene maybe in any comedy.
That and the here's a quarter, have a rat and all that thing off your face. Incredible. My family and I quote that all the time. But the scene with the clown, I'm gonna go watch that when we're done. The scene with the clown, it's so good. Is that on like HBO Max? It's got to be streaming somewhere, right?
Uncle Buck, I believe it is. Let me check.
I think it's on HBO Max. If it is, I'm definitely have to watch that. What was it? Emily also owns it. So it
says it's on HBO Max. Yeah,
HBO Max, fantastic. Speaking of HBO Max, Emily watched Little Shop of Horror for the first time the other night. That would make the list, but I don't qualify as a comedy. But what do you think about Uncle Buck being on my list?
I'm torn because I'm not sure. I think it might be too good.
I think it's in that category of like analyze this, where it's a really good movie. I just don't think people talk about it enough.
That's true. I mean, it probably slips the track of the last 15 years of that generation.
Yeah.
Like, I think our generation is kind of like the last one probably that actually watched this by choice. And it wasn't like some movie your parent or uncle threw on.
I'm sorry, asshole.
But it's a fantastic movie. It's an amazing comedy. And John Candy is comedy royalty. So, if anyone has a problem with it, they just don't like fun. They don't like funny movies.
That's damn right. Dave, what is your silver medal winner?
My silver medal is Black Sheep, Chris Farley and David Spade.
That is a great pick to say it's underrated. I think the thing that plagues it though is that the thing that it suffers from the most, it's not terrible. It's not like the worst thing, but it is a lot like Tommy Boy. It is. It's the same 2 leads. It's not as funny, but it's still funny. And you kind of tend to conflate the two, but it is still a decently good movie. I think the hate it got was not. I don't think it was fair.
Like 70% Rotten Tomato audience score is, that's probably pretty close. Maybe it's a tiny bit of an undersell. Maybe 75 is right, but the 28 critic is like absurdly low. Like that is just preposterous. I still think that there are some parts of this movie that are absolutely hysterical. Like when they're in the cabin and like the back comes out of the fridge or the roof rips off the cabin. It's just, there's a lot of really, really funny parts. And like you said, it is like Tommy Boy, and that's kind of the negative to it. There's a lot of people that think it's just a rip of Tommy Boy, and they're kind of trying to just take away that comedy gold and just make another movie and kind of like leech off of it. But I think there's enough difference in the fact that Tommy Boy is the campaign is kind of saved, or the company's saved by Chris Farley. Whereas this one, it's almost like Chris Farley's like actively screwing up his brother's chances. I mean, it ends up working out in the end, but he kind of actively screws up and almost costs his brother the election. So I think it's a little bit different. Again, I know that it's a very similar path, but I think it's good enough that it's still very underrated. And I think people that like funny movies, like Chris Farley, is still comedy royalty, and he's still very funny in this.
Yeah, that's good. I like that. I mean, it's unfortunate we didn't get to see him do more movies. Same, in the vein of John Candy as well. It's a real shame that both of them, their careers were cut so short. Farley's more so, but the fact that both their careers were cut so short, it's tragedy. Tragedy. So before we get to number ones, let's do some honorable mentions. Oh my God. Emily just came running into the room. She's got one more to add. So before, I do remember one from memory. Oh my God. Okay. Thank you, Emily, for that one. Anyway, so Matt Pelletier said on Twitter, The Big Lebowski, which is a fascinating movie to bring up. He said that it deserves to be revered as more than just a cult classic. So through that prism, that could be true, that it's underrated. Because again, I think a lot of people just see it as like the poster you have in your freshman dorm room movie that everybody has seen when they're 18 or 19, and they think it's just a cult classic. And it's got some good stuff, but people think it's overrated. So I think the fact that it cancels out with so many people thinking it's overrated, it almost makes it underrated at this point. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean. I think it's one of those movies that is probably just rated too high to begin with. Like, I think even the people that don't like it, I think they still would probably rate it too high to have it on here as an underrated movie. It's certainly a unique movie. I'm not sure it's for everybody, but it's definitely. I think it's a good movie. I mean, I don't know how you can watch this and not think that it's a funny movie. It's a good movie.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's definitely a good movie. There are people who think it's overrated, and I get it. It's not like laugh out loud funny, but it's got a lot of laughs. I mean, the scene with John Goodman bashing up the kid's car, like that's good stuff.
It's like a lot of it is subtle humor though too.
What was the? Have you ever seen the TV version of Big Lebowski?
No.
Because the edited version of that line is like, this is what happens when you like mess with a stranger in the Alps. Is the edited version of that line that John Goodman says?
Oh, is it really?
Yeah, that's like the edited version, which is so stupid. That's up there with the snakes on a plane edit. It's up there with that. So some other ones. We got a couple from Jake Ruthier. He said Sex Drive. That was one you mentioned last week, Dave.
That was actually not bad. I saw that. I think it was on Netflix or Hulu. But that was not bad. That was solid.
I've never seen it, so I'm sure I trust both of you. So
that was my 1,100th movie on Letterboxd.
So wow, look at that, number 1,100 in Letterboxd, number one in our hearts. This one, I don't know if it's gonna be your number one, Dave. It might be your number one. I'm gonna text you so I don't spoil it. Okay.
All right.
I'm gonna text you just because I don't want to say it and then it gets spoiled. So tell me if this is your number one.
No.
Okay, good. All right. So Jake Ruthier also said The Other Guys, which is a fascinating choice.
I mean, I think it's slightly underrated, but I think it's gotten a lot of buzz lately. Like, I think over the last year, it's picked up a lot of steam.
I think people have talked about it so much as being underrated that it's now properly where it's supposed to be at.
That's what I was thinking.
It's a good pick because people do forget about it.
Oh yeah, I mean it's fantastic. There's nothing bad about this movie. We reviewed it, actually a throwback review a while back.
We did,
but we both gave it, I think, a 90 or 92. So
it's got to be back in May, something like that, June maybe.
Yeah, there's absolutely nothing wrong with this movie. But I just, before I put it on here, I was thinking, and like you said, I think it's properly rated now with all the buzz it picked up. I think being on Netflix really helped it.
Yeah. Also, like we said, Due Date by Tyler Salk. He was the one that, he did not write the movie. Tyler Salk submitted that to us. Yeah. I've never seen Due Date. All I've heard is that it's a remake, pretty much of Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, but it's not as good.
I would say that's accurate. Like, there are certainly, Zach Galifianakis is very funny, and there's a scene with Danny McBride where he beats up Robert Downey Jr. in a wheelchair, and that's pretty funny. Overall, like it's not a great movie, and Jamie Foxx's cameo, which is kind of really strange, but I mean, it's okay.
Better
It's
Jamie Foxx appearance, Due Date or Horrible Bosses?
Horrible Bosses.
Yeah, that could have made the list too, actually. But
Horrible Bosses, his cameo in that is hysterical.
Yeah, that's good. We could do best comedy cameos too. That would be a good one.
He would that is a great part.
That's a good part. We also have to kind of define what cameo really means in that sense. But I'm gonna make a list now. I'm gonna make a note of that so I don't forget. Best comedy cameos. See that? Ideas coming to light before your very eyes here.
This is the magic. This is how it happens.
All right, so we got a few from Emily. Her first, well, not first. I'm going to count up because I think the first one she gave is the best one by far. Good Burger. Yep.
Yeah, that's solid.
It's good. It's good. Abe Vigoda, great. Fantastic, isn't it? Welcome to Good Burger, home with a good burger. How can I take your order? Welcome to Good Burger, home with a good burger. How can I take your order? Kel loves orange soda. I do. Not the same thing, but still good.
That's a good one.
Yeah, that's all I really gotta say. It's good. I'm only kidding. It's a good movie. I think it's good.
Yeah, I mean it's good. I don't think it's great, but it's not bad. It's good.
Cool Runnings. Also,
I had that as an honorable mention.
Okay, I was gonna say if that was your number one, I was gonna be. This one actually, the next one might be your number one. I hope not. I'm just gonna say because I don't think it is. Emily said Heavyweights.
No, it's not.
Okay, but Heavyweights is a great movie. It's great.
I've actually never.
You've never seen Heavyweights?
No.
For a guy that's seen two, oh my god, Emily's jaw's on the ground that you said that. I only saw Heavyweights for the first time because Emily watched it with me. We watched it at her house several years ago, and it's very good. It's very funny. It's very funny.
Yeah, I've never seen it. I'll have to add it to the list.
You got it. You gotta watch it. It's very good. It's not too long. It's probably like an hour. The craziest thing about it is Ben Stiller is the lead of the movie. He is uncredited.
That is insane.
Uncredited. Yep. And the last one I heard is Waynesboro 2. Let's go to number one. Dave.
Well, I have a couple I can list.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Yep.
I like how you try to sneak that in there, but that's okay.
Thank you. I know it's a good movie.
I have the movie Red with Bruce Willis and Morgan Freeman.
Oh, my dad loves Red. My dad loves Red.
I think that's a good movie. Certainly a dad movie. I have Harold and Kumar at Guantanamo Bay. I thought those were both very funny. Cool Runnings I had, like I said.
Dave, we have some breaking news, Dave. We have breaking news.
We had 20.
The poll has hit 23 votes, and it is 22-1.
Let's go.
Where can I find this piece of shit?
I have honestly no idea. I never even checked.
Well, while you're doing your album mentions, I'll look up if it's available to stream anywhere.
I can't believe we hit it that fast. That's awesome. Not even an hour. Oh,
wait,
man.
2006? I thought this movie came out 7 years ago.
No, it came out a while ago. I watched it. Wait.
Like on YouTube for $4. That sounds like fun. Sucks. Go. Yeah.
I also have the the whole 9 yards.
I've never seen that, but I've heard decent things about it.
Don't watch the whole 10 yards, but the whole 9 yards is good.
Matthew Perry, Amanda Peet, Bruce Willis, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Great. Fantastic. Loving it. Just great. Well, at least you knew about this bet that I made this time, unlike Cats.
I know. You're like, check Twitter. And I was like, what? And I checked and you already hit the number.
I sent that out during like a work meeting, not like during a work. It was like I was sitting at my desk. It was like a downtime at work. So I was like, let's think about something new we could do that's like fun, like a live watch, like get people invested. So I tweeted that out. I like went to the bathroom, came back, and it was already like more than halfway there. One of my friends voted on multiple accounts for it. And I was like, you gotta be kidding me, man. Like, seriously? Yeah, like I liked it because you could see if it's a like. So like I saw they liked it from multiple accounts.
Yeah.
That didn't take very long for that to happen. But anyway, it was good exposure at least. So yeah. Anyway, moving on. Number one. My number one is The Wedding Singer.
I thought that was gonna be your number one.
Yeah, that's my number one. I think this was the first movie that showed Adam Sandler had legit acting chops. He's very good. It's a pretty emotional role that he plays. It's got laughs, don't get me wrong. When he sings that song for Drew Barrymore, it's fantastic. It's so good. John Lovitz has a pretty good cameo. That might crack the honorable mentions if we did that on that list. Alan Covert, probably his best performance ever, like legitimate performance as Sammy the limo driver. Glenn Guglia, real ass. Christine Taylor, very good, of course. But I think it's one of Sandler's most well-rounded performances. I think obviously there's your Uncut Gems, there's your Punch Drunk Love, but there really isn't any comedy in those movies. So when you're looking at his comedies, I think this is by far his best all-around performance in a comedy that he's done.
I mean, it's a solid movie. I think it's funny. It's good. Probably is underrated. So, I mean, I think it's perfectly reasonable to have on your list. And I would encourage anyone that hasn't seen it to watch it. I think it's a funny movie.
Yeah, no, for sure. But it's also got a fantastic soundtrack if you're a big 80s fan. A lot of 80s cliches that are in it. The jokes mostly land. Drew Barrymore is very, very good. I'm not a huge fan of Drew Barrymore, but she's fantastic in this. And her chemistry with Adam Sandler is really, really good. It did not repeat in 50 First Dates, which is a movie I don't like, but they're very, very good together in this. And then what was the other? Wasn't Blended. Was it Blended? What's the movie they were in later on together?
I think it was Blended, yeah.
Was it Blended?
Let me check. I think it was Blended.
Yeah. They haven't been able to repeat that magic, which is unfortunate.
It was.
Yeah, Blended. So they haven't been able to repeat that magic. The repeat third time's the charm, except it wasn't. It was the first time was the charm. But they play so well off each other. And the old guy, too, is so funny. He puts on the leather jacket and starts doing the moonwalk. It's very good. But like I said, I think the soundtrack really helps it, too. One of the best Sandler soundtracks ever. It's just an all-around great movie, and I have real respect for somebody that gets paid in meatballs as well. So props to Rocky Hart.
That's true.
So Dave, your number one.
So my number one, and I think some people will probably say that it's too good to be underrated, but
I like the fact that we're gonna have 20 different movies.
I know we didn't have one crossover. So I had This Is the End as my number one.
That's a good pick.
I think it's up there, one of the best comedies over the last 20 years for me. I think it's hysterical. I think the star power in this, the fact that they can all kind of like do whatever they want, and like it's just all over the place. It really like the cameos kind of make no sense, but they're hysterical at the same time. The jokes are awesome. It's just, you can tell that they had fun making it, and it really shows in the movie. And the writing is awesome because they all wrote their own parts. It was a lot of improv. It's just really a fun movie. Like there's not enough good things I can say about this movie, but I think it's one of the better comedies I've seen.
Well, I think I might have got another vote.
Did you get a vote?
I think so. Well, I went up to 8. I think you got a vote and I got a vote. So I think I finally moved up a little bit.
Oh.
That's still not great. I still need a lot of help. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, we have 25 votes, so it's 23-2.
Yeah, it's exactly 23-2. Yeah, so there is somebody else who doesn't like it. Keep that in mind.
Shame on you people.
Well, we're on the right side of history. So there's that. So, Dave, I'll read off my top 10. My top 10 again was Kicking and Screaming, number 10, Father of the Bride, number 9, Ace Ventura When Nature Calls, number 8, Walk Hard, number 7, Legally Blonde, number 6, The Mask, number 5, Talladega Nights, The Ballad of Ricky Bobby, number 4, Blades of Glory, number 3, Uncle Buck, number 2, and The Wedding Singer, number 1. Dave, what was your top 10 again?
So my number 10 was Get Smart, number 9, Armed and Dangerous, number 8, Grandma's Boy, number 7, Death at a Funeral, number 6, Anger Management, number 5, Super Troopers, number 4, Analyze This, number 3, Hot Tub Time Machine, number 2, Black Sheep, and number 1, This Is the End.
Well done. That was good. There was 20 different movies from us. There's a good reason that I had the inkling to say let's not combine these because I don't think we're gonna have any similarities.
We wouldn't have any crossovers.
There are movies that each of us like on each other's list, but movies that did not make the other person's list. Like I like This Is the End. You like Uncle Buck, The Wedding Singer. I like oh my God, what was the other one you mentioned? Your top 5?
Hot Tub Time Machine.
Thank you. Hot Tub Time Machine. Thank you. That was your number 3 or 2?
3. Black Sheep was 2.
That's right. I like Black Sheep too. Good movie. So yeah, we had some agreements, but definitely some movies on my list that Dave was going for. Grandma's Boy. Didn't even finish the podcast before I lost that poll. There's still a chance if there's a very strong anti-Grandma's Boy contingent that comes along in the next 23 hours. I'm golden.
Well, hopefully I don't find any extra votes, you know.
That's true. We have to count the absentee ballots. Too.
Oh, of course.
The early votes, the mail-in vote. We got to count them all, and then maybe I'll make up some ground there.
Yeah. It would be very suspicious, though. I think we should just end the poll now.
I'm hoping for a real Biden, Pennsylvania situation here. I'm down by a lot to start, and then I end up winning by a lot. Maybe I'll wake tomorrow and be up by
finding bags of votes.
You never know what's going to happen on the Crossing State Alliance poll, my friend. But anyway, that does it for our discussion of underrated comedies. That went longer than I thought it would, but we definitely got some good conversation out of it. Dave, so before we go, let's just make a couple of house cleaning announcements here. We announced on Twitter this week that 3 weeks from yesterday, we are doing our first ever themed trivia night. We're going to do Office trivia. I've been doing a deep dive rewatch on the entire series to prepare for this. I'm currently a third of the way through if you count the seasons. Episodes, I'm probably not a third of the way through yet, just because season 1 is so short. So I just finished up season 3. I'll be plunging into actually watch Fun Run today again. That is still one of my favorite Office episodes ever. I'm only in season 4. I already have hundreds of questions, so it will not be a problem finding some good ones for you. But I'm very excited for that. We will have Lucy Burge coming on for that. Very excited. Office trivia superstar Lucy Burge. We have Mac of Mac and Goo. We got Ken, our friend from JKLOL, and Lucy of Furloughed Friends fame. They'll be all coming on. Dave, you'll be participating. It'll be a great time. You are shooting for second place, you said.
No, I'm shooting for third place.
Third place. Well, that's very noble of you.
as Vince Vaughn, so I definitely put it in dodgeball. I find if you have a big goal and you don't reach it, you're disappointed. So I find if the bar is low, you're never disappointed.
It's fair. It's fair. So Dave, and for people listening or watching, you get a little preview of what we got coming. Next week, we're doing our Build Your Own Restaurant draft, which I know Emily is psyched for. Yep. We're still working on getting a fourth person for that, but we'll get somebody, I'm sure. The week after that, we're doing a comic book movie draft on December 1st. That is a Tuesday at 9:30. We'll be having Wes and Nick from the Change My Mind podcast coming on for that. We're all very excited for that. It's going to be a good time. Week after that, the first full week of December, we'll be doing a Build Your Own Christmas movie. Cliches, actors, directors, setting. We're building a major blockbuster Christmas movie here, folks. We'll lock it in. It's going to be a fun time. Then we're doing a holiday grab bag after that. And then Dave gets the week off for Christmas. We're doing Albums of the Year roundtable. So Dave gets the week off for that one.
Dave offers 0 on that.
And then usually we do our movies and TV preview for 2021, but we'll have to see what that's going to look like. I think we could actually get away with doing a movies preview for 2021. It's just going to be a 3-hour podcast.
Yeah, we'll just have to come prepared with 15 we each like.
Yeah, I don't think we can do like our previous format. We'll probably be doing a top 15 or something like that. But we're definitely going to get Brandon Maxwell back. It's tradition.
It is.
Get him back for those two. The TV shows didn't really get delayed, though. We were kind of right about those.
Yeah. I don't hear a lot of like talk though about news about like new shows. Like Dexter's coming back, but like you don't hear a lot of like new shows. You know, maybe they'll pop in December, but
you hear Conan's ending his TBS show next year, and he's going to HBO Max. That's cool.
He is, yeah.
It's cool stuff.
He's a really smart guy, so I'm sure he'll do something really unique.
But maybe you could possibly imagine, like I said, we're doing The Office. We'll be doing more of those down the line, just because there's so many questions I'll have anyway. But we'll also be doing Seinfeld, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, probably other shows at some point. So definitely keep it locked for the theme stuff. We got sports trivia tomorrow night if you're listening to this on Tuesday. Well, not Tuesday. You'll be listening to this Wednesday. It's when it comes out. So we have sports trivia tonight if you're listening today. If you aren't listening today, that's likely that sports trivia is coming out on Friday, so you can listen to it then. You know how it goes. But that's all we got for this episode. Dave, where can we find you?
At David_Albiani.
That's great. I'm at Jacob_Morocco. This podcast is at CSL Podcast on Twitter. Check us out at cslpodcast.com. Dave's been whirring up that trade machine. He's been going crazy with it. So I know he's going to be writing us something. I'm going to try to put something together at the end of this week about Spider-Man Miles Morales. I've been having some ideas about writing something about that because I played through the game in about 4 days. I've beaten the main story, still have some side stuff to do, but it's an incredible video game. It doesn't really match the high to the first one, but it is absolutely outstanding. And really fluid, incredible, dynamic gameplay. So I'll get more into that, but check us out there. CSLpodcast.com, at CSL Podcast on Twitter, and we will talk to you guys either on Sports Trivia or next week when we do our little build your own restaurant draft. Word up. Let me end the broadcast. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Have yourself